With just one loss more than halfway through its season, Maryland men's soccer looks to be set up for another deep postseason run. Both veteran leaders and new faces are shining for the Terps, and we'll tell you all about them coming up on the Left Bench in Focus.
I'm very pleased that we got the result and we got the shutout.
Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Left Bench in Focus presented by Terps Sports Central. I'm Elana Mutnick.
And I'm Alex Gary, and it's time to go all in on the Maryland men's soccer program. And Elana, I don't think we could have chosen a better team to talk about this week.
Alex, I think you're right. And their strong 2022 campaign continued out in the rain Friday night at Ludwig Field. The Terps are currently on a hot streak, earning their 6th straight win and 2nd straight shutout this past weekend against Old Dominion. The Terps came out slow, continuously getting beat to the ball. Maryland gave Old Dominion an early opportunity to score, but a big save from Jamie Lull kept it tied at 0. Lull had one of his best games of his career, notching 6 saves. In the final minute of the half, Nick Richardson drew a penalty in the box. Then Malcolm Johnston took the penalty kick and he scored to put the Terps up 1-0. Maryland took control of the game after halftime, playing a majority of the half on the offensive end. Despite several shots, the Terps could not find the back of the net. And with just 3 minutes left, Stefan Capetti had a chance to put the game away, but a huge save from ODU gave the Monarchs one last chance. The Terps stood their ground and came away with the narrow victory.
I'm very pleased that we got the result and we got the shutout. I thought our back line defensively was outstanding, and I thought Jamie Lull had one of his best games in a Maryland uniform. The fact that Jamie had his best game in a Maryland uniform is disappointing because that means that we allowed them too many chances today.
After the Terps' 3-game homestand, which included a ranked win against number 11 Ohio State, they will head to Piscataway to face off against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, who boast a 5-1-4 record. The Scarlet Knights most recently tied the Buckeyes, led by strong performances from Thomas DeVizio and MD Myers. Myers is someone the Terps will have to look out for. His 7 goals lead all others in the Big Ten. The second leading scorer in the conference also hails from Rutgers, as Jackson Temple has notched 5 goals on the season so far. Myers and Temple will have the tough task of going against the Chris Rendove-led back line, which has held opponents scoreless in the past 2 matches. Goalkeeper Jamie Lull looked to continue his clean sheet streak as well. Rutgers has been a dangerous team all season, which should lead to an exciting matchup for the Terps later tonight.
After last season, Maryland lost a fair amount of attacking talent, as 62% of its goal scoring in 2021 was from players who are no longer rostered. Ben Bender, Jason Russell-Rowe, and Caden Stafford left big shoes to fill. Former Maryland midfielder Ben Bender was named to Major League Soccer's 22 under-22 list for the 2022 season and currently plays for Charlotte FC. During the 2021 spring season in College Park, Bender started in 27 of 29 games, racking up 9 goals and 5 assists. Former Maryland forward Jason Russell-Rowe plays for the Columbus Crew in Major League Soccer's Eastern Conference. During his 2 seasons as a Terp, Russell-Rowe scored 4 goals and had 4 assists in his 26 appearances. Another player no longer with the team is forward Caden Stafford. Stafford started in 9 of the 16 games he played in during his freshman season and scored 3 goals and had 2 assists. When those 3 guys left College Park, the Terps attack took a big hit, but a pair of incoming freshmen have filled the void, leading the Terps to the 2nd highest scoring offense in the Big Ten. Our Matthew News has more.
Coming off a season where Maryland men's soccer scored just 29 goals in 18 games, the Terps went into a transition period up top. With freshmen Colin Griffith and Max Riley coming into the squad, It was unclear if they were going to be the answer for the Terps going forward, but the freshmen have had an instant impact. Through 9 games this season, the Terps have netted 18 goals, already surpassing half of their goals scored from a season ago.
I mean, it's definitely important. I mean, people leaving like last year, and then obviously me and Colin and Herman coming in this year. It's just three different people. So I think just taking the opportunity when it comes.
With the departure of Ben Bender, Jason Russell-Rowe, and Caden Stafford, 12 goals and 12 assists from last season left College Park. But Griffith and Riley are here to fill the void left by those 3. Griffith's high pressing has drawn 2 penalties this season, both being converted by Malcolm Johnston, including a key penalty that pushed the Terps over the line against Georgetown. Griffith also touched home the game-winning goal in the Terps' season-opening win against New Hampshire.
It just was a good chance to, get in and play. Everyone wants to play as a freshman, and with the departures, it just gave me a chance to play. Obviously, you have to prove it in practice, and it's about how you play. And when you got the chance, you have to take it, and it's just everything's there for you to take.
Riley has also drawn a penalty this season in the Terps' 3-3 draw with Penn State before scoring his first career goal against Ohio State.
First goal as a Terrapin, obviously as a freshman coming in. It was big for me. It was definitely coming. I think I just needed the opportunity, and in training I was finishing, the chances I got. So when the ball crossed line, I was just dead happy.
As the Terps head into the heart of Big Ten play, Coach Sasha Surofsky understands it is important for his freshmen to continue to contribute.
But the attacking piece is the quality, because it depend on the timing of runs, and the passes takes a little longer. So I think we made a lot of progress, but I still think the best is yet to come.
For Terrapin Sports Central, I'm Matthew News.
And to talk more about how this season's been going, we're very excited to be joined by the men's soccer beat writer for Terps Central, Harrison Rich. Harrison, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me on.
Now, Harrison, since the Terps were shut down by Denver in the beginning of their season, they've been on a tear. They've won 5 out of 6 games, including ranked wins against Georgetown and Ohio State. What has been working for the Terps for them to just figure out ways to win games?
Yeah, well, you mentioned that first game against Denver, and that was really a gut-wrenching loss for the Terps. First Friday Night Lights game of the season in front of an almost sold-out Ludwig crowd, and they really just fell flat on their faces. Obviously you mentioned the shutout, and then the defense just couldn't stop Denver's attack at all. But after that game, something really changed. They went to Audi Field a few days later to play Virginia, and they went crazy that game. 6 goals, all from different guys on the roster, and I think that was really just a big confidence booster for the team. And then they kind of took that momentum going forward, and they played a big rivalry game after that in Georgetown, and then went into the Big Ten slate. And obviously those games carry a lot more weight, and I think the confidence they had from the Virginia game just carried their momentum going forward, and they've been unstoppable ever since.
Yeah, and now let's talk about Jamie Law's incredible performance Friday night. So even though he set a season high and tied his season record of 6 saves, why do you think the defense let up so many shots in the beginning, and how their dynamic changed going into the second half?
Yeah, well, head coach Sasha Surofsky mentioned that he thought Lowell had his best game in a Maryland uniform, but he also thought that he shouldn't have had to make that many tough saves throughout the game, and that was really a result of the Maryland defense was really not shutting down their offense at all. And on offense too, their back passes weren't clean. They were pretty sloppy, a lot of turnovers, which was letting Old Dominion in the first half really go on a lot of breakaways, get a lot of offensive possessions that the Terps didn't want them to have. But in the second half, they went into the locker room and changed something in their game plan, and it really worked out in the second half where they were able to shut them down and get their second straight shutout.
And now looking ahead to their game against Rutgers, they face off against the dynamic duo of M.D. Myers and Jackson Temple. What do the Terps have to do defensively to shut down this dynamic duo?
Yeah, well, Myers and Temple are really 2 amazing players for Rutgers. 7 goals for Myers, 5 for Temple, and they combined for half of Rutgers' goals so far this season. But Rutgers' offense as a whole is really potent. 24 goals on the season, which is leading the Big Ten currently by far. The next closest team is Maryland, tied with Indiana at 18. So it's obviously going to be a big challenge for the Terps to shut down their offense, but I think they're going to find ways to do it. 2 shutouts in the last 2 games, obviously, so I think they're riding high right now with a lot of momentum, and I think the defense is just going to have to buckle down.
Well, Harrison, that's all we have for you. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to reading the rest of your work for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Make sure to keep up with all of Harrison's coverage at terrapinsportscentral.com and on Twitter at HarrisonRich_.
Now, don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we'll look at the Terps' 2021 campaign and see how former Terps are doing in the pros.
And later, Alexa Wooten will be in studio to talk about 3 players to watch for the rest of the season. Don't go anywhere.
Jason, let's go see your room.
How is it? Is it good?
And welcome back to Left Bench in Focus, brought to you by Terps Sports Central. Alex Gary joined alongside Elana Mutnick. And Elana, before we go in depth on a few men's soccer players that have been leading the way for Maryland this year, let's talk about how the 2021 campaign fared out for them.
Yeah, overall it was another impressive campaign, but one with a disappointing finish. Maryland amassed a record of 12 wins, 4 losses, and 2 ties in 2021. And even though the Terps had a successful year, the lasting memory of their season was the devastating loss that ended it all. The Terps relied heavily on their attack, accumulating 36 goals throughout the season. They ended the year with a .722 winning percentage and a 5-2-1 record in conference games. Brett St. Martin and Ryan Blundberg dominated on the defensive end, and Niklaus Neumann and Jamie Lowell were almost lights out in goal. LIU's late goal in the first round of the NCAA tournament eventually ended the season, but as we discussed, the Terps reloaded for 2022.
After leaving College Park, many Terps have found success in the MLS, some even finding success as rookies. Like Ben Bender. After being selected as the first pick in the MLS Super Draft, Bender has quickly become the face of Charlotte FC in their inaugural season. Bender scored 3 goals in 28 appearances, starting in 19 of those games. His 6 assists also lead Charlotte FC. Another Terp making waves in the MLS is Dane St. Clair of Minnesota United FC. St. Clair was the goalie for the Terps during their 2018 championship run, which propelled him into the 7th overall selection in the 2019 Super Draft. Since then, St. Clair has been a pivotal player for Minnesota. Not only was St. Clair named a 2022 MLS All-Star, but he took home the All-Star Game's MVP award after an impressive performance in a win over the Liga MX All-Stars.
Yeah, Alex, I just find it so incredible how Ben Bender is somehow leading in assists for Charlotte FC, and he hasn't even started every single game.
Yeah, and Lana, if we look at international play as well, St. Clair, although he's the backup on Team Canada, he has the potential to play in some pretty impactful games come November.
Oh, definitely.
Now, jumping back to the beginning of the season, when one of Lubbock's finest received a special honor.
3 Terps were featured on the Big Ten Players to Watch list, and our Alexa Wooten is in studio to check in on how they've been performing thus far. Alexa?
Yeah, guys, Malcolm Johnston, Joshua Boma, and Niklaus Neumann are probably 3 names you know, but you might not know what makes them great. First on the list was 2-time team captain, senior midfielder Malcolm Johnston. Johnston is probably one of Swarovski's most versatile players. He's done it all for the Terps, whether it's playing multiple positions or showing major composure in big-time moments. And that composure has been on display recently, as Johnston has gone 4 for 4 in penalty kicks this season, showing once again he knows how to step up and get it done when it matters. Along with his 4 goals, Johnston has notched an assist against Virginia and played the most minutes of any midfielder for the Terps. The senior was also named Big Ten Co-Offensive Player of the Week earlier this season. Next up is the big man in cage and the leader on the Terps back end, Niklaus Neumann. Not afraid to go after it, Neumann is an aggressive keeper, eager to come off his lines when the time comes to make a save. He has totaled 13 saves so far this season, including a penalty kick from Virginia. A key component of the Terps defense, Neumann was recently named the Big Ten Co-Defensive Player of the Week. Neumann is currently out due to an injury, but the Terps are hoping to get him healthy and back on the field. Finally, Joshua Boma is no stranger to national recognition. Not only was the sophomore named a Big Ten player to watch, but was also named a national player to watch by the United Soccer Coaches. The human highlight reel, Boma is one of the best offensive threats in the country. With his clean footwork and his eye for the goal, he is a defensive nightmare for any opponent. Boma has continued his offensive prowess, notching a goal against Virginia and 4 assists so far this season. I had the opportunity to ask Coach Swarovski about these 3, and here's what he had to say.
I think they met them exactly as I anticipated. I think they've all been really key contributors to our team this year. I think we have some other players that have stepped up that were not on that watch list. So I think we have a lot of quality on this team.
Alex, Elana, the Terps are on a hot streak right now, and these 3 are a huge part of it. It should be exciting to see how they do in the regular season and hopefully far into the postseason.
I'm excited to watch all 3 of them, but Just Malcolm Johnston specifically, he's just such a diverse player on the attacking end and the defensive end. I'm just excited to see what he brings for the team.
And I just can't get over that performance in against Virginia at Audi Field for Joshua Boma. He comes in, subs in on the second half, 2 assists and a goal for him. What a performance. And that'll do it for this edition of the Left Bench in Focus. Be sure to keep up with Terrapin Sports Central's coverage on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and online at terrapinsportscentral.com.
We'll be back next week with a new episode of The Left Bench, and stay tuned for our next In Focus episode on October 17th.
See you next time.